Hello. In this video I want to show you how you can really easily create a court bundle using Casedo. So I'll start by creating a new Casedo file and I'll save that in my folder. I'll call it XXX authorities bundle because that's what I'm going to create, and I'll save that on my computer. And what we have here is an empty Casedo file as normal. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to where I have an index. So I've been sent, this is an index, for example, that I might have been sent by a solicitor or a barrister on the other side of the case. So I'm going to put that at the top of my bundle. And these are the documents I want to create. So the next thing I need to do is import those files. And here they are. What I've done is I've collected all the different documents I'm going to need, and I'm going to go and select the documents I want to bring in. And you can see here I've got the first two parts of tab 1. And so what I'll do with those is, because there's 3 separate documents that are going to go into tab 1, 3 bits of legislation, I'm going to create a folder and call it tab 1. That will just help me group them together. I'll now select the other legislation I need, and I can bring all of this in. Here I've got it all in separate folders, so it's a case of running through and bringing it all in. And you can see how here I've now got all my legislation together. I'm going to drop all that up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder to drop all this in called legislation. Again, just to make this easier to read where I am. And as I go through, obviously you can see here these have got tab numbers on. Or at least some of it does. I'm going to add tab numbers as I go to the document names. Some of them are wrong, so I'm going to correct those. And there we go. You can see I've got a folder of all my legislation already in order. And if I bring it up in the other window here, you'll see we start at the top and we go through and can scroll through into the different legislation. There's section 34. And if I turn on pagination, you'll see we paginate all these documents. But of course what's happening here is that the page 1 and 2 are the index, which means the first tab actually starts on page 3, and we don't want that. So what we can do is we can right click here the index and opt not to paginate it. And by clicking that, the index won't be paginated, and you can see that now tab 1 starts on page 1, which is what we wanted. Let's carry on and bring in some cases, because we've got, and here's the selection of cases that I've collected. And again, I can import all of those in at once. I'll create a folder called cases. I'll drop all of these in and let me have a look at my index and see what order these want to be in. So Brumby's at the top. And in fact, what I would often do at this stage is I would give them tab numbers here. It's quite useful if you're going to use the digital version of the bundle to give them tab numbers. It's also quite good for checking to make sure you've got everything you want. And in fact, what I might well do is put the proper names in here too, so I can go through and I can copy and paste those names onto the relevant cases, and that gives me numbers and the full proper names. I want to be careful obviously at this stage that you don't copy over the wrong name and rename a file with the wrong thing. But so there we go. Now I've got a bundle of cases and I can drop that up into my bundle, and you can now see obviously I've got a full bundle already paginated, pagination starting on the first tab of tab 1 and extending all the way down through, so that tab 11 here, tab 9, the authorities, starts on page 210, etc., all the way down to all the way through. So every page here has a unique number, and I can simply hit print, send that to the printer, and I'm done. What I might like to do, however, for various reasons, is to paginate the cases separately to the legislation. I might want to have 2 separate files. For example, I might want to have a bundle A and a bundle for legislation and a bundle B for case authorities. And to do that is very simple. I simply come up here and I toggle the pagination type. And when I do that, what it does is it takes the top level folder, it doesn't ignore subfolders, but it takes the top level folder and assigns it a letter. And everything in that top level folder gets given an A prefix. So tab 1 now begins on A1 all the way down to A176. But when I go into tab B, case B, it starts again at B1. So now all these cases have separate numbers. So that you might use that, for example, I know the family courts have an A, B, C folder-based pagination system. That means you can very easily create folders that are paginated with a letter prefix. Just a click of a button. If I want to go back to that, I can again just toggle that off and we go back to the old pagination system. So very simple to create A-B pagination. So there we go, finished bundle. What might happen, of course, is you might send that bundle off to the other side and later realize you've forgotten something. But no matter, because Casedo makes it very equally easy to add insert pages. So let's say I've realized at a later date that what I need to be adding is actually a couple more sections of the TMA, the Taxes Management Act. So here I've got an insert, and maybe I'll put it in, I'll call it in insert, and I'll put these documents in here. And I want to add these into my legislation bundle, and I want to add them in here under section 34. So I can add that, and what that does is then the pagination updates. So this page always started at A10 and went through to A12, but then this page, section 36, wasn't here before. So what I can do is take these and paginate them as an insert. And if I click that, you'll see this changes to 12.1 all the way through to the end of that document. And then this document I also want to paginate as an insert. So let's also paginate that. And that means what we have is the pagination hasn't changed. So this page was always page 13. It's still page 13. All the other pages are the same because we've paginated these in insert. And you can see I've got a little plus in the index which tells me that that's what I've done. Just as I have a little dash in the index if something is not paginated. Although when I'm in folder-based pagination mode, I should say everything that's not in a folder is not paginated. So again, there you can see how you can really quickly throw in inserts anywhere in your bundle and not mess up your pagination system. And the last thing probably you should know about the latest version of Casedo is that it has this new go to page feature. And this is a way of, if you in court now and somebody says go to page A56, I can simply jump to page A56 and here I am. And that will even work if I go to page A12.4, which I know I've just added. Oh, that one's not there. A12.4. I just added it will take me to A12.4. So whenever there's a page number, you can jump straight to it by just typing it into the go-to box, and you can do that obviously in both windows. So if I tab over to the other window and type B106, I can jump straight to page B106 in my bundle. So that's all there is to say about it really. You can see how quickly and easily you can throw together a bundle. You can do it with authorities, you can equally do it with evidence or anything else. I hope that makes things clearer. Do of course drop us a line if you've got any questions, and happy bundling.